You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast, and this is show number 363 for Sunday the 30th of May 2021.
Where dreams begin.
Well, hello there and welcome to the Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Janie.
Hello there, Michelle, and how are we?
We are good. How are you?
Yes, I'm looking forward to a week off now because we have our little mini half-term break. So I'm hoping that the weather that has been really, feels like the middle of March over here in the jolly old UK is going to brighten up somewhat and make it feel a little bit more like summer because I'm missing my sunshine.
Oh, and we are on the precipice, Jane. Providing we can duke it out the next few days without my area being sort of put into a category of not allowed going out again.
Oh.
Fingers crossed we are going to meet up person to person for the first time since August 2020.
Who would have ever thought this time last year that's what we would be in a position of saying? That's just mad, isn't it?
I can't believe we have not seen each other for what? Such a long time. What, 9 months?
9 months, yeah. Well, we don't live especially close to each other, do we? But we always make the effort and, we have our little burlesque nights out and they come around every, 3 months or so, isn't it? So we do get to see each other on a semi-regular basis and it's, I've missed our nights out, Shell.
I know. And I've no idea when they're going to start up again, but hey hell, we're a Disney podcast, we're going to talk Disney, but next week, me and thee are going to be putting ourselves into a Disney store somewhere in the UK, so watch out, folks.
Yeah, watch out Disney store and probably watch out Primark as well, I would imagine.
Well, if we can find a decent enough Primark that we can go and visit, I am more than happy to go and have a little meander with you, my lovely.
Of course, just for research purposes for the podcast, obviously.
Of course, I will not be doing any purchasing at all.
No. Yeah, and I believe that when I see it, Michelle.
Yeah. Anyway, we have got a little bit of Disney history and I am going to hand over the microphone to you, my lovely, because I gather you have got some fascinating facts from the past.
I have indeed, and we're going to go chronologically because that's the way I like to roll. So 1932, 30th of May 1932, was the birth date of Disney legend Dick Nunis. He was born in Cedartown in Georgia. He first learnt about Disneyland through his classmate Ron Miller, who we know as Walt's son-in-law. So he decided to apply for a summer job at the then new theme park, was hired by Van France, who was a founder of the Disney University, and then he worked his way up, as you would do through the company, up to attraction supervisor. He developed lots of standard operating procedures for all of the attractions, many of which are still in use to this day. He then became director of park operations in 1961 and helped develop Project X, which we all know became Disney World. And then by 1971, he was actually executive vice president of Walt Disney World and Disneyland. Just a minor figure in the history of Disney.
Finger in many pies.
Love the fact, though, that it was, that job was applied for on a whim, worked his way up, and look what he managed to achieve. So it just goes to show, doesn't it? Don't go in there thinking it would never happen to me. If you don't try, you don't know. The next one we're going to go forward to 1966, and this is because it's one of my favourite attractions. So on Memorial Day in 1966, Disneyland threw a grand opening celebration for its newest Fantasyland attraction, It's a Small World. So it was inaugurated on May the 28th, and it was obviously built originally for the 64-65 World's Fair, but this was the day that they had a big grand opening celebration for it. So I had to mention that because everybody knows how much I love It's a Small World. We're going to move forward now, just a year into 1967, because that was the year that site preparation began for Disney World. So this is when they started doing all the swamp drainage, the clearing of land and the removal of the trees. And it took 1,584 days and $400 million to get from 1967 through to opening day, which I thought was quite amazing, really.
It is. The prep work is always the hardest, though.
Yeah, definitely. And I do love those time-lapse videos that you get, or the old footage of any of these when attractions have been either revamped or these beginnings when you see these parks just being built up. And I can't vision how they can vision that, because it's just like it's a piece of land, and then all of a sudden these markings are put out, and it's like, how do they know what they're doing? They're very clever people, and I doff my hat to them. And the last little bit of history, we're going to go to 1971, and this is another birthday, and this is Idina Menzel. So she was born in 1971, and of course we all know Idina Menzel is particularly famous for Let It Go and being the voice of Elsa in Frozen. But she is obviously an iconic Tony Award winning Broadway star predominantly. She started off, and I didn't realise she was in this, she actually appeared as Nancy Tremaine in 2007's Enchanted, which I didn't realise she was in that. So that now makes me want to go back and watch Enchanted so I can see her from back then. Obviously, she's voiced Elsa in all sorts of different bits and pieces. She actually performed Let It Go live at the 86 Academy Awards. But she first kind of rose to prominence. She was in Rent, which I must confess I haven't seen.
No.
No, I haven't, which it's just like slap Jane's wrist for not having seen that.
Jane,
I know.
it is one of those films, along with Pride, that I always love to watch when I'm on an aeroplane, because I end up singing along with the songs because they're such powerful songs. And I must say, I am incredibly blessed, thanks to my wonderful friend Mark Peter, to have been able to see her live in concert. And she literally walked so close to me, I could almost feel her breath. She is sensational. But big warning for people who are considering going to take their lovely little precious one to go and see Idina live. She does drop a lot of F-bombs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was a lot of children in the audience, and it was like, yeah, you shouldn't be here, precious, because this lady has got a bit of a
fruity language.
Yeah, fruity language. I was going to say adventurous language.
Well, I have seen her live as well, but I actually saw it in probably one of the roles that she's most well known for, which was Elphaba in Wicked, when she was over at the Apollo in London. I actually got to see her perform Elphaba. Yeah.
Each time I've seen Wicked, I've never had her performing. So it's, I think I've seen Wicked now, 3-4 times? And yeah, not yet.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're digressing from the history.
We are digressing, but I mean, I think it's a very iconic role that she's undertook there, and very much made it her own, which I think is obviously that got her noticed and brought her into our lives, sort of thing, and meant that she could then come on and do Let It Go and perform that absolutely amazingly. So, big kudos to her for that. And I'm just waiting for Wicked to come around and do a tour, or better still, why doesn't somebody make it into a movie for me, please, with Idina Menzel, doing her role? That would be, ideal in my book. But
well, they did it with Rent.
Yeah, and they've done it with lots of, different other bits like Chicago and things like that, haven't they? So, yeah, come on, big producers out there, get Wicked up on the big screen.
Right, well, I'm figuring we're going to move on to our sort of general chitter-chatter and topics of the day, and it's at that time of the afternoon where Michelle's got a little growl in her tumster, and she's thinking a little bit about what she could go and get to eat. Well, from the 4th of July, Pim Kitchen over in Disneyland is going to open, and there has been a mix of emotions with regards to a particular item, which Disney, well done, how to get free publicity for an upcoming eatery is to put something on the menu that everyone is going to blog, vlog and rave about even before they've even tasted it. And this is the $99 sandwich, Jane, isn't it? Have you heard about this?
I have heard about this, and when I first heard it, somebody said there's $100 sandwich. I thought, oh yeah, whatever. Somebody's pulling my leg here. That they're not going to charge $100 for a sandwich.
Yeah, they are.
But they are apparently.
Yeah. But let's just get this in priorities here, because you can get the mini version, which is $14.49, or you can get the really big version, which can serve between 6 to 8 people, Or if you're particularly hungry, 4 people. We'll just see how you go. And looking at the ingredients in this, it's basically everything you want in a sandwich and just want to fill your face with: salami, rosemary ham, provolone, sun-dried tomatoes, toasted fiacre bread, marinara dipping sauce, potato bites and arugula salad. Oh my word, if I was going to put together my dream sandwich, the only thing I could possibly add to that would be pineapple, because I like a bit of pineapple with my salami.
Get you. I would never have thought of putting pineapple with salami.
Well, it's like pineapple and pepperoni. They just go hand in hand, like ham and pineapple. Well, I like salami and pineapple and pepperoni. But I think it's a really good value. And if you're having 6 of you to share, it works out at $16.50. And if you're having 8 of you to share, it's $12.37. So I think it's a really good idea. It's got Disney so much free publicity, for heaven's sake.
Yeah.
You know, there's an eatery near us that was in our local paper because they created a chocolate eclair that serves one person, but this chocolate eclair is like the size of both of your arms. It's like huge. It's like 2 meters long, and it's something ridiculous like £26, which is about $40 odd. And they challenge people to go and eat it, and they've yet to find anybody who's been able to eat this giant eclair. But oh my word, if there was going to be a food item I wouldn't mind having a coronary over, it would be an eclair. So we sort of got talking off air about, well, what food items at Walt Disney World or Disneyland that you could maximise and share out like this. So Jane, what did you come up with?
Well, I think this is obviously with them going down the route of this is something to share, because you're not going to eat it all to yourself, are you? So I was thinking along the lines of, how often do you purchase something for yourself and you're sat there eating it, and the people that you're with suddenly start pinching bits of it, and you think, hold on a minute, I bought this for me, and now all of a sudden I'm not getting to eat any of it, you're eating it. Now, I don't mind sharing, I'm up for a bit of sharing, but you know, it has to be negotiated. So I'm thinking like something like a funnel cake, you know, because that's easy. That's one of those dishes that you get and everybody starts picking bits off. But if you had one like the size of a manhole cover, then you could guarantee that everybody has enough of a funnel cake rather than just pinching it and leaving me with none.
Yeah, good point.
So I think it's like, you know, what other foods could we come up with that, you know, people always pinch, like, you know, giant size portions of fries, and I was kind of thinking along the lines as well, you know, because obviously with this being Pim's laboratory, and it's that element of shrinking down and going large and all that type of thing, I'm thinking, well, actually Alice in Wonderland, they do all that, don't they? The drink me and the eat me and the going big and the going small.
Oh, good point there, Janie.
So I'm just thinking, what's them Cheshire Cat tail things? You know, they could be like, talking about your foot long or your 2 meter long eclair. Perhaps there's something over there that could be supersized to meet the theming.
But hang on a minute. I know you reasonably well. And there are 2 things that you've not mentioned that leads me to think you've had a bad day today. Because one, why haven't you mentioned the cinnamon roll with basically a swimming pool sized dipping sauce of the icing?
True.
And remember when we went to Burlesque a few years ago? I think it was one of the earliest ones I'd ever been to. And there was somebody doing the Dita Von Teese martini glass in an actual massive martini glass.
Yes. Well, I must admit that had been another of my thoughts, because I think there should be some room. I'm thinking more frozen margarita is what I'm thinking. And there should be some sort of bottomless pit for a frozen margarita. Some sort of drinking vessel. You could have a yard of frozen margarita. Do you know? And I wonder if our Americans know what a yard is. So, like when you only get the yard of ale, so you get those big, like, long tubes, don't you? That you're meant to drink in one go. I wouldn't drink it in one go, because that would just be dangerous and silly. But you could have like a massive frozen margarita. You could have something really like a big fish bowl with multiple straws in, so we could share it that way.
That links in though to over at Sequoia Lodge for the woodcutter's cocktail, doesn't
True.
it?
It
That's a
does, yeah.
multiple big one. So
Yeah.
yeah, there is like the precedent. The only thing is at the moment, call me a little bit of a COVID sort of like do person. But
Yeah.
at the moment, I don't feel comfortable sharing my cocktail with anybody at the moment, not even the hubster.
To be fair, Michelle, I think even in non-COVID times, I'm not sure that I would actually go that way with anything like that.
Yeah, so maybe not that. And anything that you double dip, things like,
Oh
the
no, no,
world's
no, no.
biggest Dole Whip. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, perhaps no. Perhaps what they'd have to do is they provide you with some sort of receptacle that has the mountain of whatever food you've chosen, and then like little mini serving dishes that go with it. So then you could apportion it out as to how many people are in your party, or if it was like a giant cinnamon bun, then you could have like little mini pots of cream cheese for everybody to dip into, or something like that. So there'll be ways around it. Come on, you've got to put your brain into this. There's going to be ways that you could do a multiple sharing something or other and keep it very hygienic and above board at all times.
Okay. I was imagining the macadamia nut pancake from Kona Cafe. Instead of getting a stack, I was getting a bin liner size, huge, absolutely ginormous, covers the entire table. And then I was thinking, well, what food to me is comforting and delicious and could be maximised in such a way? And I came up with lasagna because in my mind, I know you're going to go blah, 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 keto, whatever, but you can still make a good lasagna in a keto way,
Oh
just
yeah,
replacing
absolutely.
the pasta with something else, such as a vegetable of some sort.
Mm.
So you could quite happily have a really big lasagna that serves the whole family. Everybody's happy. Get a few sides, a bit of salad with it. Job's a good one. And, that then also saves on the Disney washing up because it's only one receptacle that they have to wash.
True. It'd be interesting to see whether there's more. I suppose this is where, the likes of the kitchen sink came out of, wasn't it? That element of sharing multiple desserts in one go sort of thing. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether or not this kind of I suppose it will depend on what the reception to this actually is, and if they do get a lot of people wanting to go down this ginormous route, but whether it gets supplied to other foodstuffs across their menus. Be interesting to see.
No, I completely agree. And we invite our listeners to get in touch with us either on the Disney Dream Girls podcast family page or go and visit our website, disneydreamgirls.com. Have a look at the pictures and all the bits and bobs that we've got on the old post there for this week's show notes. Let us know if there's something that you would like a supersized food version of, because I could literally write pages and pages. And, things like beignets in the shape of Mickey macarons, the list goes on for an eternity.
Well, anything Mickey shape can be bumped up into a ginormous size, can't it?
Absolutely.
Although somebody's going to probably have to design the moulds to make it that big, but
Well, Disney can do that. For heaven's sake, most people have got a 3D printer now.
I'll get Simon on the case. We'll sort it.
Awesome. Job done. Looking forward to my Mickey-shaped food next week. Jungle Cruise Experience is going to open at Disneyland July the 16th and work will be completed over at the Magic Kingdom. Popped on a little bit of some Jungle Cruise carny jokes on our blog, so pop on over, have a look at that. The changes are quite sort of losing the feel of things. It's now Trader Sam's gift shop. There's no Trader Sam per se. There's no jokes about the headhunting, things like that. But there seems to be quite a lot of the playful elements still remaining. It's going to be really interesting to see what it's like in Disneyland when it opens up again. Very excited. I love me a bit of Jungle Cruise because I can just laugh along. And how much fun is it to go on Jungle Cruise and have a little bingo card with all the key phrases and play Jungle Cruise bingo?
Yeah, I just hope that when they do reopen over in Disneyland and finally get all the tweaks done over in Magic Kingdom, that they still retain that humour element, because it's that cheesy sort of cheeky humour that I think we all like, and it's always great when you get a really good cast member who throws himself into it and obviously really enjoys what they're doing and stuff. So yeah, fingers crossed it kind of all comes out okay.
It's the cast that makes any attraction.
True. Yeah.
So, and talking of attractions, I gather there's a lot of the social distancing differences going away now. There's no relaxation stations anymore. Over in Walt Disney World, they've been removed. You've got some news on that, haven't you, Jane?
Yeah, they're starting to take up all the social distancing markers that they've had on the floor, particularly obviously with Disney World saying that there's no longer need for masks outdoors. So some of the outdoor queue areas, in particular things like the monorail queue and things like that, they've all had their markers start to take up. So it's interestingly how quickly things are changing. And I'm quite glad to see, because my fear was with all these markings and posters and plexiglass shields and one thing another, was that as things do start to ease and lift, that these would just get left in place and we'd be seeing them for years and years to come, and you'd be seeing markings on the floor and like half torn stickers and goodness knows what else. So I'm really comforted by the fact that as and when they're making these changes, the posters advising you about wearing masks changed literally overnight. The fact that they've said that some of the social distancing can be removed, the stickers are now being removed. So I'm quite positive about those type of things. And Universal, apparently, it's looking like they're going to remove their indoor mask wearing as from this weekend, as we're going live. So again, it's going to be interesting to see how long it takes for Disney to follow that. I know that in Florida and in Orange County, their COVID restrictions have been removed for quite a while, and different levels and one thing another. So yeah, it's very strange to sat over here in the UK when we still haven't got these things coming into our environment and seeing the restrictions gradually and quite swiftly in some respects. It does seem to be that as soon as something is announced, it's happening within a day or so of announcements have been made. So they're not hanging about when they're getting the green light to make these adjustments. And I'm just pleased that they are going to the bother of not just leaving things in place. They're going, right, no, that's it, take them up, let's get on and get it back to looking like what it should look like.
Yeah, absolutely. And in an upcoming show, our friend Anthony Markham is going to do a bit of a trip report from his most recent trip, where he's had the opportunity to be in park without a mask on. So that'll be really interesting to hear straight from him about that. And he's got a couple of nice dining reviews for us as well, because he's been sending me some pictures to tempt and tantalise me on what he was able to enjoy.
Nice.
Absolutely yummy, yummy, yummy. Well, I want to end the show on a bit of a wish.
Ooh, what are we wishing for?
A Disney cruise ship called the Disney Wish, Jane.
I think I might have known what you're talking about, really.
Yeah. It literally sold out for the maiden voyage like nobody's business. Super, super quick. I suppose everybody wants to be the first to go on the maiden voyage, get all the merchandise. Does bother me a little bit that a lot of that merchandise will end up at vastly inflated prices over on that there eBay, but hey ho, that's life.
As these things tend to do, isn't it? Yeah, it's always the same, isn't it? When anything launches for the first time, so it's kind of expected. But yeah, I'm with you, Shell. I don't like the fact that people buy more than they need and then sell it on for a profit. Hey ho.
Have you seen much about the Disney ship?
I've seen a few little bits when there was previewing some of the decor, but not a vast amount, I must admit.
It does look splendiferous. It really, really does. Very, very luxurious. I'd love to think I'd be getting on it soon. I don't think I would. Where's your head at in a non-COVID world for actually maybe going on a cruise ship now, though?
I don't know. I mean, I have said before, I found it really difficult to get my head around what a cruise is and what it entails. And I know, for likes of you, Michelle, you love going on the cruises, and I know lots of other people who who can only say good things about cruises. It's not something I've ever particularly wanted to do, Disney or non-Disney. So whilst it's probably somewhere on my bucket list, it's not really at the top of my bucket list of things to do. So it may be something that as Simon and I get old, we may turn towards. I don't know, but it's not something, COVID or no COVID, it would be something that I'd be desperate to get done. I have to admit, as stunning as these ships do look, and I always make the mistake 'cause I get told off because I say boat, and I know it's not a boat, I know it's a ship, and I just can't get my head around how big these things actually are and how much there is to do on them. I've got a little bit in my head about I'm going to be trapped on a ship and I can't get off. So you need to work on me, Michelle. Convince me.
Oh, I will. Don't worry, lovely. We'll talk a little bit more for our special Patreon show about a Disney cruise. I just thought I'd give you a flavour of the pricing for the Disney Wish sailing in 2022. And I've tried to get dates that are comparable to give you a bit of a comparison. So July 29th, an inside cabin. So this is a cabin that doesn't have a window to the outside, doesn't have a veranda, is starting at £2,029 for two people. That is for a 3-night Bahamian cruise where you will get a stop at Nassau and Castaway Cay. If you want to up your category of room, you can have an ocean view for about £70 more, or you can have a veranda room for £2,227. If you wanted to go for an extra night, so basically the same parts, but it's an extra night, it goes up for a veranda room only on the 1st of August to £3,308. And that literally is £1,000 more for one extra night, which I think is a bit steep.
I was just going to say that's a big jump for just one night, because normally with vacations, it tends to be the more nights you do, the cheaper or the better value per day, I should say, it gets. Whereas that would imply that, yeah, you're paying $1,000 just for one extra night. That seems a little bit ouchy to me.
Yeah, and when you bear in mind that if you want to go on the Disney Fantasy on a 7-night Western Caribbean cruise, you're looking at, and I'm just going to do my conversions because I'm trying to keep all in dollars at the moment, and we know that dollars is working out about $1.35 at the moment. For $4,900, you could go on a 7-night Disney Fantasy cruise. So really,
yeah. Say if you divide it by the number of nights, which is a better value?
Yeah, true. I'm going to stay with my Disney 2022 Disney Fantasy Cruise. I am not going to hop on to the Wish, so we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, I think if you've got the money and you like being the first on something, then fair dues, knock your socks off sort of thing. But it's always a danger, isn't it, with something brand new, that the prices tend to be higher and therefore you might get better deals on different ships. But it's not a cheap thing to do at the best of times, is it though? So you got to use your money wisely and decide what's best for you and best for your pocket.
Yeah, and also you've got to bear in mind that the prices I'm quoting are in the school holidays, which can be a little bit inflated anyway.
Yeah, I need to stop working in education, then I'll be able to afford to go better, wouldn't I?
True. Right, lovelies, we're going to end the show off there. Before we do, we invite you, plead and request in the nicest possible way, if you enjoy our content, which we provide a show at least, every other week. We're trying for every week at the moment, although we're very, very busy. We do so free, available to yourselves for downloading and listening. In return, why don't you consider leaving a new updated review for us on the old Apple podcast app, or Stitcher, or however you listen to us, because it really does help other people find our show. It takes a couple of minutes, if that, to be able to do so, but it does actually melt our hearts a little bit when we read such wonderful reviews of what you think of our wonderful little podcast. A big thank you also to our Patreon supporters who make this show available and keep it advert free. They're going to be getting a second May show recorded in the next few moments and available to them. So thank you to you guys. We've left some show notes for you on DisneyDreamGirls.com. But until next week, it's a goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.